Hi, I'm Danielle Gallant with Guardian Realty, and today we're going to talk about how to keep yourself out of trouble with Section 8. Over the weekend, there was an account that posted on X, formerly known as Twitter, talking about an experience that he had with a possible renter. So he had his property listed for $1,850. The possible renter asked if he was willing to go down to $1,700 because her voucher only went up to $1,700. He responded saying, "No, I'm sorry, it's at $1,850, but he also added that in his head he thought, why not just pay an extra $150 to have a nice place to stay? Well, that started like a whole Twitter firestorm, or X firestorm. So people were saying, different things about, oh, that doesn't seem like a lot of money, people are crazy, or other people were then saying, oh, as the landlord, you should just give them a break. Wouldn't you like to have certified funds every month? And so I decided to go on there and try to help educate and make sure that we keep this person out of trouble. So Section 8 has a thing called side payments. And it is a guideline that is started all the way up at the federal government, works its way down to the local authorities. So essentially what it says is that a landlord is not allowed to take additional rent that's not approved by Section 8. So if the lease says $1,700, the tenant and the landlord can't say, okay, Section 8 said $1,700, but we're just going to do an extra $150 on the side, and Section 8 doesn't have to know. That is considered fraud. The minimal consequence is that the participant and the landlord get kicked out of the Section 8 program and can no longer participate in the program. That's minimal. Now, if you have an attorney like a public defender, or here in Nevada we had a legal aid attorney several years ago, bring forth federal fraud charges against 3 big landlords. And essentially those landlords were found guilty, and it came with $100,000 per occurrence. So that means every month they were charging over, it came with $100,000. So there was like one landlord that got fined $500,000. There was another that got fined like $1 million. So this is really serious, that you have to make sure that you know the rules of Section 8 and that you follow them. So there's 3 parts of a contract when you have a Section 8 tenant. There is the contract between the landlord and Section 8 saying, we will agree to said rent and not charge any more, plus we will follow the rules of the Housing Authority guidelines. Then there is a contract between the tenant and Section 8, which says tenant will follow the rules, and Section 8 agrees to pay a certain percentage of the rent, and the tenant will pay another percentage of the rent. The landlord is not involved with that conversation. It is considered private. Then there is the contract between the landlord and the tenant, that the tenant and the landlord will follow state law, follow Section 8 policy, as well as following the lease agreement. So it can be a little bit complicated. We use and work with Section 8 a lot. At one point, several years ago, I was the largest residential Section 8 landlord in the Valley. We've been able to reduce that since the market got a little bit more robust, but now I'm seeing as we move into a recession, it will probably increase the amount of Section 8 leases we have. But I'm sharing this with you because it is so important that if, as a landlord, you choose to engage in Section 8, that you really know those rules and those policies and those laws so that you don't get into trouble. Thanks so much for listening to me today. I appreciate reaching out, and always like to hear from you guys. So feel free to contact me at the information below. And I hope everyone had a great weekend. Thanks.